were hoping for and dreaming of when we were kids as to what our adult lives could potentially be like. Most of these people do not have the money or the success that you think that they do. It is an illusion.
I'm faking it. There's no way that I can afford this shit.
And in many regards, I feel like we are mourning to some degree what we thought our lives were going to be. There is a process of mourning because you grew up with a certain expectation, which may or may not have been realistic. And then you end up mourning to some degree what you thought it was going to be like, and now it's completely different. The reality has set in that the economy is pretty much tanking, that jobs have now become something where they're just basically harvesting data.
Pretty much. I kind of got this feeling like a few years ago when I was getting 0 job offers and I was having a lot of interviews, and I was like, what in the hell is going on? Something's just not right.
Single time you attempt to apply for something, your data is simply being harvested. You're ending up without a job. You're ending up without any real change in your life where you actually become gainfully employed and end up building some form of a stable future similar to what, say, our parents had. So,
yeah, the deterioration of the dollar has really destroyed your chances. As they keep inflating and inflating, it's so hard to break away from the pack because you have to beat the inflation rate. And you have to beat your competition if you want to get ahead. And when they just keep printing money, it's impossible.
The block parties, the barbecues, the life where you build something with a family, with a committed, stable marriage, have children that love you, support you, have all of those things. For many of us, that has become something of a pipe dream. Something that just probably will never, ever happen. You kind of wonder, would you even want to attempt to make it happen under the circumstances that of the circumstances of what we're just living under right now? Would you want to make that happen?
You do. I thought I didn't want to have kids until I seen my daughter for the first time. And that will change you. That will change your life. Having kids is the best thing that ever happened to me. It's why I go to work after I work. It's why I post videos. It's why I do anything. It's why I act the way I act. It's why I learn the things I learn. It's for my kids. And this is advice. If you don't have any kids and you're getting close to 30 years old, you need to have unprotected sex. Straight up. And it will be the best mistake you've ever made. Now, dealing with the woman is a different story. The woman is difficult, but you can manage. If you just stand your ground, you can handle her. I promise.
Wouldn't it need to get, to some degree, at least a little bit better for that to happen? And in the mourning process of it, I guess as we come to the reality of this is a completely different time, the economy is simply not going to shift and fix itself. It just isn't. Politics aren't going to allow it to happen because there's no way to vote in and overthrow a lot of what's going on because the process has become so convoluted with everything from lobbyists and lawyers to everything just being completely tied up to where people that gain positions of power, they are there simply because they've manipulated the system to arrange all of this. Now, this isn't a form of complaining so much as it is a form of explaining what we're talking about right here and then maybe a little bit of what we might be able to do about it. I watched a clip from Richard Pryor, black comedian from the 1980s, great guy, loved his material for years, and he was explaining how he feels like the entire aim of everything is to keep people divided, especially amongst the working class and amongst people that are not in the elites. And this is coming from somebody who was a well-known comedian who had done quite well for himself identifying this problem. He's saying the intention is to keep us all divided so we don't ever become completely united and begin to actually talk to each other.
Yeah, God forbid the American population unionized against its government. Yeah, God forbid that ever happened, that we could all stand together and look at the government and say, what the fuck are you doing? But we won't do that because we all hate each other. There's no families. It's not like we're getting together and having kids. We're all single, living in our own single studios, apartments, or we're cohabitating. We're co-living in our situationships sharing houses, renting houses together. 3 lives, 3 different lives in one house that have no care in the world aside from trying to make rent and go on the next vacation. Everybody hates everyone because it's so hard. Everybody's probably jealous of everybody. Oh, he got a new car. Oh, how the hell did he go on that vacation? Oh, she got this. She did that. Yeah, we hate each other. It sucks.
About our problems. And another point that I wanted to make with this is, as we begin to kind of mourn what we thought we were going to have and begin to mourn what we thought we were really, what our lives were supposed to look like.
I had this when I just realized, about 5 years ago that I have so much less stuff than my parents did. I mentioned this in the last video, but I have so much less stuff.
I think we begin to realize that's okay. Being in touch with the reality of the situation now is completely okay. And the reason why I encourage people to cut loose of all the extra debt, all the extra bills, all the extra things that just, come at you. One of the major reasons why, and I'm going to tell you this, is a shift of mindset that you have to have about the way things work now. We have to change our mindset about the way everything works. I'm wondering how many of you have noticed this. I'm going to use it as an example, but how many of you have noticed certain higher end neighborhoods where even the people that are living there, they are under such a blanket of debt, such a complete and total blanket of debt. It's like a revolving debt that they've got going on where they owe so much money on the house. They owe so much money on the vehicles, on all these additional things that they're doing. And they have money coming in and maybe have pretty good jobs, but they are pretty much in a situation where if anything were to go wrong, they would lose all of it in a heartbeat. They don't actually own any of it, and they don't own any of their time. And it is easy, very easy, to put somebody like that, to be envious of something like that, to be envious of the situation and take a look at it from the outside and think, these people have got it made. They're doing so well. Why am I not doing so well? Trust me, it is appearance. Overwhelmingly, 99% of those people are in a state of revolving debt where they don't actually have anything. They appear to be almost like in an upper echelon of middle class that feels like they're not being touched by anything that's really going on with the rest of us. But the reality is they absolutely are. With my contracting work, I've done all sorts of stuff where with connecting with subcontractors, with different types of builders, with all sorts of different people where I get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes. And that's actually, I'm really kind of downplaying. And I get to see a lot of the behind the scenes. Most of these people do not have the money or the success that you think that they do. It is an illusion.
I'm the same way. I'm faking it. There's no way that I can afford this shit. And I don't have nearly as much shit as my parents do or did. I just have a house and 2 cars that are paid off. So I ain't got no truck or nothing like that. I don't have a car payment either. And I'm struggling. And yeah, I'm always asking myself, how do these people do it? They must be making tons of money. But a lot of people are making money in ways that you don't understand and won't see, like disability, or they got their family sending them checks. You ever see that guy, or that guy or girl, you're like, how the fuck are you affording all this shit? I know where you work. I know how much you get paid. I know you just took a couple of shifts off last week because you didn't want to work them. And you wanted to go to the casino instead. But yet they're having all this money, buying all this shit. They're getting money from a different source that they don't want you to know about. And it's likely a disability or a family member paying all the bills, mommy and daddy chipping in, paying stuff off. That's usually what it is. They're getting money from somewhere that they don't want you to know about because it would be embarrassing for them, for you to know that they got somebody else paying their bills. We're going to wrap this up pretty soon. I'll go a little bit longer.
You are envious of something that is not even real. And that's the trick of it, is to break free of the illusion of thinking that people are doing so much better around you when the reality is that they're not. And, one of the reasons why I encourage people to pull back away from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and some of these other places is that if you don't have the right mindset going in, you're going to end up surfing through those sites and you're going to end up seeing stuff that are the highlights of people's lives where you think they're traveling and they've got all this money and you're not realizing they're in massive amounts of debt.
Or they're in a completely fake set. You see that? There's businesses where you can go and sit in the fake G6 and take pictures. It's just like a movie set. There's a lot of that. People will do that for their Instagram. What?
they are traveling on credit, or they're in some sort, some of the women, they're in a bad situation with a guy that has basically funded their trip. And behind the scenes, it is an absolute horror show.
That too, dude. Oh yeah, be careful. These women who are having all this money and they're going on all these trips and buying all this shit, and they don't make that much money. How you doing that, lady? How you doing that? Oh, she's just got a roster of dudes that are paying her for, I don't know, maybe pictures. You don't know what these chicks are on. There was an article that said like 1 in 10 women aged 18 to 28 or some shit are on OnlyFans. Just saying.
It's an absolute nightmare. But you think that it's great because you've been presented with this image. This image of something being amazing and wonderful. Social media has a tendency to do that. It tends to program us with, we've got all the highlights of all this great stuff, and look at all these great people's lives, and look at all these great products that you could buy that we're now going to push on you. And you have to be able to break free of that mindset. I had somebody comment and say, well, don't you have anything good to say? That's something good to say right there. You learn to break free of that mindset right there. You'd be surprised how much happiness will return to your life when you're not having your emotions manipulated and jerked left and right, up and down, all over the place. But you have much more control of just your mentality and your thought. I posted something the other day talking about our mental diets. What we're putting in is just as important as what we do with our bodies and our exercise. In fact, even more so, because our happiness, our stability, and our peace should come from where we program ourselves and what we're putting into our minds.
Yeah, basically worry about yourself and get yourself figured out. Get yourself squared away into a place where you are satisfied with at least what you're doing and the path you're on. I'm going to check out some comments quick, and then I have to get my ass to work. If a person living in a trailer and driving a 15-year-old car with over 6 figures in the bank is considered unsuccessful, a person driving and paying a 6-figure Range Rover with a huge mortgage and a credit card is considered successful. We've become lost along the way. Yeah, well, you can't see it. That guy who's driving the Range Rover, he doesn't have a little bubble of text above his head showing us how much debt he's in. And I think if that was the case, then we would see, a lot less of that. To keep wealth and power, the oligarchs must keep the slaves focused on their differences. If the slaves ever were to unite, the oligarchs would have neither wealth nor power. Yeah, if us brokies, all of us middle class and lower middle class people and everybody else who's struggling the fuck up would be able to unionize and actually agree on something, we could change the government. Ultimately, we make the government, and we can make them do whatever the hell we want. It's literally that easy. But we won't do it because we hate each other too, and they've done a good job at doing that. I'm 32 and beyond miserable. AI took away my freelance writing income. Now I'm mowing lawns. It's satisfying in some ways. Yeah, mowing lawns isn't bad. Start your own lawn mowing business. I bet that can still make money. But I don't want to do it forever, and I certainly can't do it 40 hours a week, so I'm living with my parents and have no way out, no friends, no relationships. Tall, good-looking, in shape, and have savings behind me. Well, you just need confidence. Okay, if you're tall, good-looking, and in shape, and you're still sucking, you are lacking confidence. But everything feels pointless, and I can't be bothered to do anything anymore. The world is a cold, dark place these days, and nothing brings joy. Don't even enjoy cooking anymore. This guy has lost it. He's lost the plot. You got to focus up, man. You got to get confident. Don't simp for these women. It's not worth it. This is what happens when you simp for women. You end up like this guy. I'm going to leave it here. This was a good video.